Hey class, how's it going? Here's your assignment 1 guidelines and walkthrough of what the assignment is. First of all, you might need a little bit of a background idea as to what we're doing for the whole semester. Covered a little bit already in lecture, but again, just to be clear about it or provide a little bit more detail, is you're creating a guideline or a how-to guide for practitioners to follow as far as some motor skill. So again, to use an example, if you're to pick a specific sport, in my outline I use basketball. So you pick a basketball player, high level player, and you want to analyze their free throw. Okay, so that would be your motor skill that you picked. So from there, you're going to do lots of exploration, information gathering, data collection, and a little bit of research yourself, as far in addition to the research of literature that you're going to be doing. And that will be kind of your semester-long project that we're going to be working on, okay? So one of the things I'll let you do for that is I'm going to let you partner up, okay? So twos, if you want to do it individually, you can. You might need to find some workarounds and get a hold of people to help complete these assignments, this assignment anyway, because it's meant to be done in partners, but we'll kind of deal with that on a person-to-person basis, okay? So let's dive into assignment 1. Now, we've already covered the qualitative research lecture, and that was already done, and I might have alluded to it, to this assignment in there and what you might be doing. Okay, so let's cover it in detail now. So the objective in this assignment is to you yourselves are going to conduct a mini qualitative research project. Okay, and in particular, you're going to do an exploratory study of what performers of a motor skill, what their beliefs are as far as the most important aspects to completing that motor skill well, and how they think and what goes through their minds while they're performing it. So it's kind of two points you want to explore a little bit. And this is going to be done through a semi-structured interview. So if you recall what that is, that's having some guiding questions, but also allowing for other questions to arise naturally through your interview. Okay, so you're going to need a partner for this. And ideally, if you want to be really efficient and be able to use this assignment towards your final product at the end of the semester, you'll want to choose a motor skill that you'll end up doing your major project on. Okay, so this is likely, the partners you choose for this assignment are likely going to be the partners that you have, or the partners, sorry, singular, that you're going to have for your final project. Okay, again, there are some opportunities to change, and if you want to change your motor skill, change your topic, maybe you need partner switching, or you just want to do your final project on your own, that's fine. We can deal with that on a case-by-case basis. But again, the most effective, efficient way to go about this is choose your partner that you want to do for being a partner with for the whole semester and do your final project with. And both of you can decide now on the motor skill that you want to analyze, okay, and create this guideline for, okay, your integrated movement analysis guideline, your IMAG, okay. Okay, so that's kind of the preamble, both the larger semester-long assignment and this one. So for this, again, your semi-structured interview is going to have about 5 to 7 questions. The interview itself, at most, maybe 10 minutes. I wouldn't let it go too much longer than that. You're going to have a huge transcript to go through. So again, keep it it can be quite brief. Make sure that the interviewer is the less proficient person with this motor skill, and the interviewee is the more proficient performer of this motor skill. Okay. So again, it's done in partners. As far as format, style, font, spacing, style of writing, APA formatting, okay? At most 4 pages. That doesn't include title page, reference page, or appendices. For this assignment, there's going to be quite a lot, your appendices are going to be quite large relative to your actual paper that you hand in, and that's okay. Your sections, I want them to be pretty specific, and I want you to include an introduction, an interview section, a coding section, results, reflexivity and member checking section, references, and appendices, okay? So let's look at a little more detail what each of these entail. So again, an introduction, just briefly introduce to me what motor skill you'll be observing, who the expert is, who the interviewer is, and then most importantly, if you recall from lecture, a statement of reflexivity. Now that's by the interviewer. Okay, so they're going to have to do a little journaling and include that. In the introduction, you essentially include your conclusion from your reflexivity as far as positionality and initial take on this assignment as the primary researcher. But I definitely want you to include reflection, that reflexivity journal on your positionality before you start in the appendices. So that can be in raw. If you want to handwrite it, you can. If you want to type it out, you can, whatever format you'd like. But the whole thing I'd like and want as one single file. Okay, one file, if you want to build a PDF or put it all in a Word document, both are fine. Okay. So that's your introduction. Again, you want to keep it a little bit brief, maybe half a page or so. The interview, so the interview is a summary of the interview. Okay, so you can list or have a short list or reference to the appendices as far as what pre-generated questions you had for your semi-structured interview, and that component's there. But as a secondary note, also, and again, this won't be in your paper itself, but you want to make sure that you have a full transcribed component of your interview. So fully written out in the appendices. Okay, and I'll speak a little bit more what that format can look like there. But ultimately, you can provide a very short summary about the setting, some reflexivity, those concepts in and around how you conducted the interview. But the actual raw data and questions and stuff, that can be in the appendices, okay? So again, that should only be about maybe half a page. Again, all of this is variable on how much depth or how much thick description you want to go through in your paper, okay? As a side note, going from however you're conducting your interview, and you can describe how you're collecting the data there too. If you decide to make an audio recording of that to try to get it to transcribe, there's a number of websites that will do that for you for free. You just upload your audio file and it will give you a transcription. So if you do that, again, just be very clear and transparent about your process there, state what the website was, etc. If you want to try to go directly speech to text, you can try to do that as well. That's fine. Again, whatever method you choose to make that a very efficient for yourselves, please just include what you decided to do, okay? So that's the interview section. So coding or co-coding. I mentioned it briefly in the lecture, but just to be a bit clearer on it, coding we spoke about quite extensively, but co-coding would be yourself and another expert code the information. So I don't know how you and your partner want to divide the work here, but one method at reducing or increasing the comparability of your results is by co-coding, right? So increasing its validity or reliability is this process. So if both of you decide to be part of the coding process, that's fine. It just means your interviewee is now a participant and a researcher, which happens in qualitative research. One that you just definitely explicitly state that that's part of your coding process, as well as being clear of what that process looks like and your steps and your logic behind deciding on themes, okay? This will be a bit longer of a section because, again, that's so important in qualitative research. And then include your coded data and how you went about that in the appendix. So one proposed method, and I'll speak about it now to all of this, is create an audio file. Get that electronically transcribed. from that electronic transcription, put it in a Word document. In that Word document, after you've decided your coding theme, so if you've done your first pass or 2 readings, maybe independently co-coding in the transcript, coming up with your own themes or whatever, highlight in the Word document in different colors, similar to the video in the lecture that I showed. Highlight based off of different themes, the different words in your raw transcript, okay? In a second appendices, show that those gathered excerpts by theme, okay? And you can keep them color-coded. So what do I mean by that? Well, you have your Word document, you have your transcribed interview, you have it highlighted green, blue, yellow, green, blue, yellow. Leave that as your raw interview. Show me from your raw data what you decided to code. Okay. In a second data analyzed table in your appendices, show me how all the grouped together thematic excerpts that you've collected from the interview. Okay, and you just put that into a table. Okay, theme 1, blah 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 blah. Theme 2, you just have to copy and paste. Okay, so it's not, it'll require time, but not excessive amounts, right? If you're really keen and set on using pen and paper highlighter and cutting everything out, go for it. Definitely able to do that. Okay, but just show me both your raw data as well as your coded data and how you pulled from one to the other. That's it. Okay. So you got your coding tables, the raw data with the highlights there, and that will take care of those two. The results, tell me the concluded themes. So again, this is in your grounded base theory as far as what was your hypothesis, what themes or what coded themes did and did not support your hypothesis. Okay. And within that, you can do a bit of a conclusion and just kind of state, like, I would reassess my hypothesis now, or I would keep my hypothesis the same based off of our findings. Okay, and then when qualitative researchers put in last component, when they go to speak about their reflexivity and or member checking or whatever it happens to be. Usually it's in conclusions or discussion or something, discussion part. But you can treat this part as a post-abstract. So again, you might have some larger, maybe 250 words, no more than 500 words, producing your reflexivity if you're the interviewer, or member checking if you're the interviewee, kind of statements in the appendices. But have a summarized version of it in your paper. So what do I mean by that? I'll just say that again a bit more plainly. So you're going to have very small summaries. Maybe both of these are within a paragraph, stating what the reflexivity of the interviewer was, as far as their influence of their biases across the whole research project. And then you're going to have the interviewee make a small statement or maybe a small paragraph about whether they do agree or don't agree with the conclusions arrived at. And obviously that'll be more reflexivity if they're included in the coding, more member checking if they were less involved in the coding and the analysis, okay? Again, it depends on how you and your partner decide to divide that work. But the raw journals, when you're reflecting on these things, again, just throw in the appendix so I can see your full amount of work. I want to give you credit for the work you do on that step in that process. And again, it's really important for academic rigor in qualitative studies to show how you arrived at your conclusions. So again, in the paper itself, it might be really short. It might even be less than 3 pages, because a lot of these are summarized. But in the appendices, you'll definitely need to support any summarization you do here with the full raw data and a clear logic path or audit trail that I can follow to see how you arrived at those conclusions, okay? Okay. How am I going to grade this? Well, this is some of the most important stuff, right? Well, it's a qualitative paper, so I'm going to use a qualitative-based format to market, it's worth 6% of your final grade. But again, if you're really efficient about this and decide and end up sticking with your decisions right now, you'll be able to see that you can use this again later in your project. So it's not work wasted. Ultimately, if you have an exemplary paper, 6 out of 6, you went above and beyond. Your qualitative rigor is superb. There's no missing components in your reflexivity, your conclusion. I can follow an audit trail and really clearly see the logic for every part. Very, very thorough, very in-depth and comprehensive. 6 out of 6. Okay. Similar, if it was very well done, very competent, especially for the scale of assignment and the level at which we're covering it in this class, that would be a competent 4.5. And you might get a mark between those, if there's certain aspects of these that are more exemplary, some that are more competent. But ultimately, one thing that necessitates both of these is really, really good use of APA where applicable. Now, a lot of this, you are producing the work. So you might have a little bit in your intro, but it might not be too much. But again, just the general formatting style is going to follow APA. If it doesn't, you automatically get a little bump if you're not following APA formatting or style guides. You're already going to get a bump, kind of knocking you back to at least 3 as a starter. Okay, so be very, very detail orientated when it comes to APA format. Okay. Again, if the content is mediocre, it's good, it's not great, I can see some of the concepts that you're trying to apply is coming through, this would be acceptable, that would be a 3. If I could see you tried some concepts but didn't really get there, or you missed a lot of the connecting dots, that would be 1.5. And if you missed some of these concepts such as reflexivity, member checking, a thorough presentation of how you coded, if those components are missing, they'll pull you back towards a 0, okay? Or if you have 0 referencing and 0 use of APA style formatting, okay, which I am pretty sure by this point in time most of you can and know how to do. So, okay. Great, so that's kind of the start here. Again, if you check when things are due, they'll be on your schedule. I want it submitted online by midnight on the due date. So be sure when that is. If anything, submit a day or 2 early, just to ensure no technological issues come up. And being safe that way. Okay. If you have any questions, obviously you can email me, ask me in class. Okay. Well, have fun with this. A lot of people enjoy the interview format and enjoy a slightly different take on producing rigorous science, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight at how that's done and can leverage this in some of your findings for when you go to do your larger movement analysis guide. Okay. All right. Take care.